Galax GeForce RTX 2070 Super HOF 10-year anniversary opinion. The Galax GeForce RTX 2070 Super HOF 10 years should retail for around $590. Plus. Almost reaches RTX 2080 performance levels. Large overclock out of the box. Memory overclocked, 2. Idle fan stop. Power limit increased significantly. Low temperatures. Very power efficient. 16 Gbps Samsung memory, which overclocks better than Micron. External LCD module included. Software voltage control. Voltage measurement points. USB-C connector. RTX technology. Backplate included. SLI support. Minus. Relatively high price. Could be a little bit quieter. The Galax GeForce RTX 2070 Super Hall of Fame 10-year anniversary edition is the company's flagship RTX 2070 Super and features the highest clock speed out of all the RTX 2070 Super models out there. Only a handful of other cards have the same 1905 MHz rated boost. Asus Strix, Colorful Vulkan X, Inno3D Ultra, and Gigabyte Aorus, none of them are clocked higher. Together with the MSI Gaming Z, the HOF 10-year is the only RTX 2070 Super that has a factory overclock on memory, 1938 MHz instead of 1750 MHz. Going beyond performance, Galax also includes some nice accessories in the package, like an external LCD module to keep an eye on your sensors and a graphics card holder from Cooler Master, which stabilizes the card against sagging. Performance of the HOF 10-year is excellent. It's actually the fastest RTX 2070 Super we've reviewed to date, even beating the RTX 2080 in some tests and almost matching it on average, 1% difference. Compared to the RTX 2070 Super reference, we see a 6% performance increase at 1440p. And the RTX 2080 Super is just 7% ahead. AMD's fastest, the Radeon 7, is 9% behind, and the RX 5700 XT is 13% slower. With those performance numbers, the Galax RTX 2070 Super HOF is a great card for 1440p 60 FPS gaming. It even reaches more than 90 FPS in many titles in our test suite and is also good for 4K gaming if you're willing to turn down some graphics settings in the most demanding titles. Galax is using a large triple-slot, triple-fan thermal solution that looks great because of the silver metal highlights around the fans and a great RGB lighting implementation. With only 68 degrees Celsius underload, temperatures are excellent and better than most RTX 2070 Super cards we've tested before. Noise levels are a tad bit high with 35 dB, though. The card isn't noisy in any way, it just is not as quiet as some competing cards. Compared to other custom designs, I would say that despite its enormous size, the Galax heatsink doesn't handle the GPU heat output just as well. For example, the MSI RTX 2070 Super Gaming X Trio runs at the same temperatures, but is a lot quieter at the same time, 28 dB. Unlike many other RTX 2070 Super cards, Galax's HOF 10-year features idle fan stop, which turns off the fans completely during idle, productivity, internet browsing, and light gaming. Maybe a dual BIOS feature like Asus provides could be an option to give users more control over noise versus temperature. The PCB is already ready for it. Look in the top left of the front side. Galax has seriously increased their board power limit, which is a great thing as it allows much more headroom for NVIDIA's boost algorithm to automatically run the card at higher frequencies. This is the foundation to achieving the large factory overclock. Unlike most RTX 2070 Super cards, the HOF 10-year will not bump into its power limit during normal gaming, which helps with overclocking, too. You can now dial in a maximum frequency without boost messing with your clocks at lower GPU loads, causing instability because it suddenly boosts the clocks too high. With 320W, The manual power adjustment limit is also higher than on most other cards. Galax is using Samsung 16GB BS memory on their card, which overclocks around 100 MHz better than the Micron chips that are installed on nearly all other RTX 2070 Super variants. MSI's RTX 2070 Super Gaming Z is the only other RTX 2070S that I'm aware of that has Samsung memory. Looking at the VRM circuitry, we see a strong 8+2 design that uses the elusive Infineon's 1028 voltage controller, which is slightly better than even the monolith MPS controllers we've seen on other models. For memory voltage, Galax does indeed use an MPS 2884A. With the Galax GPU overclocking software, you are able to adjust voltage relatively freely, but you are still subject to the board power limit. At higher voltage, the card's power draw will increase by quite a bit, which will result in the card downclocking when it hits the power limit. Some fine-tuning is needed here. Last but not least, there's a button near the monitor connectors that lets you instantly set the fan speed to 100%. I'm not sure how useful that is. For daily usage, 100% fan speed makes little sense, and hardcore overclockers will use water cooling oil into anyway. As mentioned before, an external LCD display lets you monitor the card's vitals, but it only operates while the Galax software is running in the background. It's sure a nice gimmick, but I'm not convinced it'll end up that useful during daily usage, especially since we have excellent in-game on-screen monitoring software nowadays. Other vendors have tried similar external display designs, and it seems most users prefer to save the $10 instead. On the topic of ray tracing, I'm sure you've already made up your mind on whether it's something you're interested in or not, but I don't doubt for a second that Nvidia is pushing the technology very hard with their excellent developer relations, and it looks like the adoption rate is improving. Next-gen consoles and AMD's Rednet 2 architecture will feature some sort of ray tracing technology, too. I'd say it's not a big deal for the next months, but once hardware platform support is widely established and no hardware vendor opposes ray tracing, game developers will certainly start adding it to their titles. So if future-proofing for many years is important for you, this could be a factor. The Galax RTX 2070 Super HOF 10-year edition is a bit hard to find in online shops. According to Galax, it should retail at around $590. Which is a $90 increase over the Founders Edition. At that price, the card competes with other top-end models from various vendors. When comparing against those, and if noise is not your primary concern, the Galax card should definitely be on top of your shopping list. Even with a large factory overclock and included accessories, an almost 20% price increase over the base RTX 2070 Super is difficult to justify. If performance is what matters to you, I'd probably look at more basic RTX 2070 Super models that retail near MSRP and manually overclock those. However, if you look at it from an RTX 2080 perspective, pricing might actually be not that bad. The GeForce RTX 2080 starts at around $690, and those cards are just 1% faster than the Galax HOF and come with very basic coolers. Even though it is marketed with overclocking in mind, I think the RTX 2070 Super HOF with its very high out-of-the-box performance is actually a very good choice for people who don't want to overclock, yet want to maximize performance. If you live in Europe, Galax's products are distributed under the GeForce brand, they're identical otherwise.